Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Hearthcenter, your Tuesday night show, bringing you a recap of what happened in, well, not exactly the last week, but almost the last week of THL. I'm one of your hosts, Lotus Knight, and I am joined, first of all, to my left by Super Chicken. Chicken, how are you?
I'm doing great. Yeah, we've just had our first week of the THL season and lots of stuff to cover, including our first ever recap week of trios.
That's true. It's gonna be a busy one, and we have to my right Geranium Battle. Geranium, how are you?
Doing very well. I know we didn't come last week, so it may seem like there's an entire meta between when the last results came and now. But those results were very important, very impactful, so we got to cover them.
That's true. Did the meta change that much, though? We'll talk about it. But we also have tonight Azalea Akari is here. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm very excited to talk about some THL. And after I feel like a lot of us took last week off, besides those who played, and so getting at least get to talk about THL again, get me back in the groove. So ready to talk.
For sure. So let's get it started with our players of the week. Chicken, who is our hero player of the week?
Our hero player of the week is Dragon Rider. A few great forget acronyms. Dragon Rider led the week off strong for the Department of League Administration by taking a Game 5 win over Dankestad. Both players traded off Demon Hunters and Druids until it came down to Dragon Rider's ace in the hole, her Warlock. Out of the three players to bring a standard Warlock to THL last week, she was the only one to see any wins with it, and it cleaned up handily. After getting two enhanced Dreadlords down on turn 4, Dankest rallied to set her to 4 health on turn 6, but then she responded the next turn with a Thaddeus and two Darkhand Drathirs, bringing the Nailbiter series to a close. Congratulations to Dragon Rider on your first Hero Player of the Week, and I'm sure there are more to come.
I'm sure as well. Congratulations, Dragon Rider. Uranium Battle, do you want to tell us our legacy player of the week?
Of course I do, because our legacy player of the week is none other than Crafty Cactus. In their first THL match, Crafty Cactus faced off against one of the powerhouse 5 seeds of THL in Skirt Reynolds and was able to take home a 3-1 victory to help canceled Hearthstone season take a win in the squad's first ever match, especially over, oops, All Justin. Congratulations on your first of many THL wins.
Congratulations, Crafty Cactus. And finally, Azalea, do you want to tell us our pro player of the week?
Absolutely, our pro player of the week is none other than my co-host Super Chicken. Superb players tend to perform well when their teams are in need of a victory, and Super Chicken stepped up big with a sweep over Heat Shock to give F3L a chance to complete the comeback against opportunistic pro players, which they ended up doing. And so, winner, winner, chicken dinner for you, Super Chicken.
Congratulations, Dragon Rider,
Yeah.
Crafty Cactus, and Super Chicken on winning your players of the week. Chicken, anything you want to say?
Uh, yeah, I was surprised to get the sweep. I felt pretty good in my match going into it, but yeah, we'll have a chance. I'll have a chance to talk more about it. But yeah, congrats to the other Player of the Week winners. I I'd actually really like to see the. Maybe I'll poke Dankest Dad for the replays on his match versus Dragon Rider because that sounded like a pretty crazy series.
It was.
For sure. So, we're gonna move on to Hero Series now. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm going to take us straight into our first match, which is a hero match. We had the Department of League Administration facing the Arcanists Perform Miracles. And I want to ask Geranium Battle to tell us how this went.
Ah, so Arcanists Perform Miracles, my team faced off against Lotus's former team, Department of League Administration. It was a pretty close match, coming down to the very final match there. Went 14-12 in Department of League Administration's favor, with Ron Mexico winning 3-1 over Stinzy. Myself taking a game 5 over Ridiculous Hat. Dragon Rider, the player of the week, getting the game 5 win over Dankest Dad. 2-star Mako, winning in 4 games over Probiwan, and our fellow co-host Azalea Akari, keeping this match looking close by sweeping Saku.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
was quite the match here. I want to ask Azalea, any insights you want to share here?
I mean, I think I played. I played in this. I played with our team down 8-3 because Dankstad and Cincy played first. So at least from my perspective, I felt like I had to. I obviously had to win, but I wanted to give up as little points as possible to keep us with a chance. It was a very very close match. It came down to Mako getting the win over Proby1. But yeah, our team's looking for a strong bounce back this week because with only 4 teams making playoffs, you have to be top 2 out of your conference.
That's true. That's true. You do need to be at the top of your conference if you want to make it, because Hero is tighter than ever. Chicken, anything you want to say about this match?
Yeah, it seemed like a super back and forth match between two teams that seem to be on the stronger end of Hero Series. Just a bit unlucky for both of these teams that they had to face off against each other in week 1. But yeah, I mean, it seemed pretty crazy, and especially with that Dankestad versus Dragon Rider match that we highlighted, just a lot of class variety. We had the Warlock from Dragon Rider, the Hunter from Proby1, Mage from Arhat and Azalea Akari, a few Paladins in there, and even a Shaman. No
Yeah.
Warrior though. Warrior is coming though. Warrior will have its day.
It will
Just
eventually.
you wait.
Maybe we'll see.
Well, let's riff it out while Chicken tells us about the other match we're going to feature in the Euro Series. The Golden Wisps facing a somewhat hastily improvised team.
Yeah, the Golden Wisps are back in Hero and back with a bit of a vengeance. They take a full 23-point week over the somewhat hastily improvised team. And yeah, a lot of class homogeneity, but on the Golden Wisp side, everyone bringing Death Knight, everyone bringing Demon Hunter, and 4 out of 5 bringing Rogue. Makes a lot of sense because those 3 classes are just really good right now, and especially in Hero, with how many different archetypes Death Knight and Demon Hunter both have, they can really cover a lot of matchups. So they're really both tough classes to play against, and Miracle Rogue is just really strong all around. So it's tough to just target that as well. I'm surprised to see a lot of Paladins on the side of the Golden Wisp, but I guess week 1 you're still kind of figuring out what's good and what's not. But it also worked out quite well for them anyways. Warrior not working out so well for the somewhat hastily improvised team 2 seed World 8.
Yeah.
But Warrior will get some wins at some point, I am sure.
Will it though?
It has
I mean,
to eventually.
It actually, technically, it already has. We might even talk about it next week. But there's a result in for World 8 versus Jespin uh, from this past like half week of THL, where Warrior did get a win.
Oh,
Let's
nice.
go.
Do we know the type of warrior?
Yeah, it was in Rage Warrior. It's in Pro, so you can look at the classes.
Okay. I expected a Tony warrior.
Don't.
Oh my goodness, man.
Yeah, hard to say which warrior archetype is less garbage right now. I
So
have tried a bit of Enrage Warrior, and it feels pretty lackluster. I mean, it's like basically a little bit weaker than it was before the rotation, and a lot of decks have gotten stronger. So yeah, it doesn't feel great. You just like lack early game consistency now.
Azalea, anything you want to share here?
um, I mean, it's really good for the Wisps to get an early big week. They have to just keep it up. They're in a really good position to start the season, just to keep it up. Although it looks like they have struggled in the first week of their next match. But hopefully they can keep it up. I'm a big MPV fan, so congrats to them.
For sure. Now, tell us, Azalea, what are the standings looking like for both conferences with these matches in mind?
Of course. So I'll start in Teal Conference. At the top of Teal Conference is the aforementioned Golden Wisps at 23 points. Behind them is Ballers and Slatters Enjoy Dabbing at 20 points. Then in third place, after the first week, is Arcanist Perform Miracles at 12 points, and Dad Legend at 6 points, and Somewhat Hastily Improvised Team also at 6 points, tied for fourth at the bottom of Teal. And now over the Purple Conference, leading Purple Conference is F12 Black at 21 points. After that is a two-way tie between Department of League Administration and any primers at 17 points each. Always packing mana at 10 points, and Let Them Cook at 8 points. A surprising result for a team that a lot of people had as a top team in Hero, taking an unfortunate first week.
Okay, I forgot we only got 8 points.
Yeah.
Okay, not looking great.
No, but still time. There's a decent amount of weeks, and your team's perfectly capable of putting up some powerful weeks. So,
For
but yeah,
sure.
gonna have to get moving fast.
Definitely.
And that's our
Anything else
hero
anyone wants?
standings.
Anything else anyone wants to say about Hero before we move on to Legacy?
Just want a quick remind for both Hero and Legacy. I'll repeat this when we get to Legacy, but it's the top 2 teams from each conference. So right now, looks like Golden Wisps and Ballers and Sliders Enjoy Dabbing are in the front runners in Teal, and looks like F12 Black, and then there's a tied runoff between Department of League Administration and any primers for that second spot. But many weeks left to play.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on to Gold Conference, where we're going to have Azalea Kari tell us about the canceled Hearthstone season facing Oops All Justin.
All right. I do not know the match order, so I will just run it down top 1 seed to 5 seed. So in the 1 seed, Molestar getting a 3-1 win over Always Just in Time. In the 2 seed, Infinite taking a 3-1 win over Water Fury 0-1-2. In the 3 seed, Hudak taking a sweep over Guardo. In the 4 seed, 4-7 with a 3-1 win over Disagreement. AG3 mint, I might say. And lastly, the player of the week, Crafty Cactus, with that 3-1 victory over Skirt Reynolds. Very close week overall. The sweep from Hudak really kept it close.
For sure. Geranium, anything you want to say here?
Yeah. I mean, here we really see a lot of players favoring Paladin, especially on the side of canceled
Yeah.
Hearthstone season. It looks like in the lower seeds that definitely worked out for them. And in the second seed, I mean, Paladin did end up winning that match. As for Justin versus Mole, I think both of them sort of came in sort of trying to prove that they were shaking off the rust, prove that they were still up to it. And well, it turns out that Justin just did not draw the cards that he needed with his Miracle Rogue. When you get offered 0 draw concoctions, that's just how it's going to roll.
Yeah.
So, more so an unfortunate luck result than a proof of skill here. But Molstar did end up winning it for his team.
I'm very surprised to see no Demon Hunter from Justin. That might just be that's I don't know. Demon Hunter seemed very powerful.
Well, you're only surprised about it because you didn't play it on the very first day of THL because
Oh.
that match was played the very first day before
Oh my
much of the meta was
goodness.
figured
Oh
out.
yeah, so DH might not have been like I mean Outcast DH was pretty strong, but yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, Justin has also stated that he will be playing only decks that he enjoys this season.
That makes sense. That's cool.
And he has yet to get a non-DQ in any series, but don't look at that.
No, don't look at that.
Mhm.
With that said, what are the standings looking like for Gold Conference Geranium?
If we look over at Gold Conference, um, sorry, I did not. We were going to do so early. Gold Conference has at the very top, not rats anymore. Rock stars of average size at 19 points. Closely behind them is canceled Hearthstone season, as we can see right here at 17 points. Then, following up is the Cooler, who got 12 points from their first week. Then, Oops All Justin, who had 11 points. And then at the bottom, Standard THL Degenerates had a bye. So they actually have 0 points from their first week, but they also are done with their bye, so they'll be catching up quite soon.
All right, so let's move on to Red Conference, where we're going to take a look at E.T. Cthulhu facing Symphony of Clowns. And Azalea Kari is going to tell us about that match.
All right. So this is my team versus ET Cthulhu. First match of the season, I believe, was Dragon Rider versus Joltsy, which was a 3-1 result in Dragon Rider's favor. Then followed up by Jespin versus Copa, which was which was a 3-1 for Jespin. So started just like in the Hero, my team started down 2 matches. But next up was Jammies getting a 3-2 a game 5 win over Owl, in which Owl did actually get through with his warrior. I believe the deck he didn't win with was his druid, or no, weapon relic DH. I would assume was what that is.
Yep.
So the DH did not win for Owl. And then my match, I got a 3-1 win over Righteous Jammies. And Rice Cryption and Lowbrow went to all 5, and Lowbrow was able to take the game 5 victory. So yeah, congrats to ET Cthulhu. It was a very, very close week. It came down to the last match, with either player able to take the win with a victory.
That's crazy. Chicken, anything you want to say here?
I'm seeing a warrior,
Yes.
and I'm seeing a loss.
Yeah.
What could this mean?
Well, the DH was a deck that didn't win. The Warrior won.
Wow, that's just
Yeah.
the Milo difference, I suppose.
It was it, and it was described in the thing as a infused warrior with Olgra in it. So I'm guessing that's
Oh,
enraged.
that's awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. It's an infused Olgra warrior that he brought. So
Yeah, I'm curious to see like what the class distribution is going to be like when we come back to Hearthcenter next week, because I'm seeing a ton of paladins like between every team from week 1, and
yeah,
I think a lot the class distribution is really going to be shaken up
I
because
agree.
yeah, paladin kind of loses to everything not called druid, so I think
Yeah,
we'll see a lot of people dropping that.
Pal
If
I
you're
mean,
if you're speaking of the classes, I will also note this is why I said there's an entire meta between is you also
yeah,
see literally everyone banned DK.
yes,
If you look at the bans so far that have rolled in from this 2-weeker, there are almost zero DK bans. So
yeah.
it definitely feels like a different THL meta for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can say I think like for my team, a lot of it was we were kind of like we knew it was Demon Hunter. It was like Demon Hunter DK and then kind of Rogue if you wanted if you could or wanted to play Rogue. And then the fourth class was kind of weird, right? Like so I wasn't playing Rogue, so I landed on Paladin as kind of like the deck that beat the non Demon Hunter and Druid decks. The non Demon Hunter and DK. And then my last class bring was Comfort with the Shaman. Like because I had been playing a ton of Shaman at that point. But yeah, I think Paladin's gonna go away uh in this next week.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Now let's take a look at the standings. Chicken, what are the standings to Red Conference looking like?
At the top of Red Conference, we have uh, the APM team, although they've 8 points are from this week. So I guess the ET Cthulhu is truly the first place
Mm-hmm.
team.
Yeah.
Then I guess then in second we would have APM. And we have the other APM team, Anoyo Political Manifesto. And in fourth
So,
place, okay, yeah, this is right. We have the 5v5 Legacy Clown Contestants. And in fifth, we have a Dad Legend rounding at the bottom. Still at 10 points though, so
mhm.
didn't lose too badly.
Could you say the full name of that first APM team?
The Albatrosses play mistakes.
Thank you very much, sir.
Mhm.
What is the colon doing there? Is that
It's
a
for the tongue sticking out face.
okay.
Yeah. Colon P.
That is fine. I thought it might have been an
Yeah.
homage to colon close parentheses.
It
It
probably
A
always
was
is.
storied THL legacy team.
the pain.
I want to note I'm on that team and I just noticed that that was the face. But let's move on to we need to talk about silver still. So let's
Yeah.
hop on to silver, where Chicken is going to go over Defias facing the season 24 5v5 Legacy Clown contestants.
Yeah, this was a big week for Defias, a team that has won a legacy championship not all that long ago, getting 21 points in their first week against a team that at least I thought was going to do pretty well this season. But yeah, the season 24 5 versus 5 legacy clown contestants had off to a slow start this season with everyone except for Neji Boston taking a loss here, which feels like it's usually the other way around, but Neji did come through for us and get us a crucial 4 points to at least make the loss a bit respectable. At least at my match versus Classy Thug, I think I think I was definitely worse prepared, or at least I think Classy Thug anticipated what I was gonna bring better than I did with him, and I certainly made a couple mistakes in my own match that I think led to my demise. So definitely want to be cleaning stuff up for myself at least going into future weeks, and certainly well played to defy us. I think they really came out with a strong plan for in terms of their lineups,
Mm-hmm.
and I think probably surprised most of us and kind of got the better of us on preparation. Notably with their mage brings, which performed quite well across the board.
For sure. Geranium, anything to say here?
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot of Game 5 results. 4 of the matches going to Game 5. It just proves how tough this match really was. If you, by the way, mentioning Defias's old record, I mean, that was 2 years ago. But, I mean, with this start, maybe they're looking to return to form. Um, the team is almost exactly the same as back when they made that championship run, except the 5 seed this time is Truth AM,
Not Lur.
um, who played, I think, 1 season ever before and went 0-5. So now they're undefeated this season. Hopefully that keeps up. And then yeah, Classy Tech I think was like 530 or something PR. So looking to regain that PR. So history wise, Defias is hopefully going to perform like they did in the past.
Truth AM also sounds like an alt-right radio show or something like that.
I watched their stream. They were doing a wedding fundraiser stream where they ate spicy nuts, spicy cashews or whatever. So very wholesome person.
Nice.
Love it.
They will be taking America back.
So before we get canceled here, let's take a look at the standings. Azalea, tell us, what are the standings for Silver looking like?
So silver standings are looking pretty good. Overall for records, there's 4 1-0 teams. We got Defias at 21 points after the first week, followed by Big W Esports at 18 points, F2L White at 17, The Stubbs at 15 points, and then the lone 0-1 team is Symphony of Clowns at 12 points. So, yeah, Silver Conference came out and showed out overall minus my team. In concerning winning. So yeah, that is Silver.
Some strong results though. Still,
Yeah.
Defias at the top, and there's still a lot of conference to go through. So let's move on to trios, where we're not going to have an
Okay.
interview tonight yet. We're going to plan one for next week. We're going to
Mhm.
feature 2 trios match tonight, and we're going to start with the Triple Bros Bash facing the Barrel of Monkeys. And I'm going to ask Geranium here to tell us about this match.
Of course. So there's really only one result to talk about since this is trios, but it's a pretty impactful one. Barrel of Monkeys was, I think, almost every single person on the reveal stream's top pick to win the entire thing. So the fact that they took a 3-2 loss, Game 5 loss to Triple Bros Bash, is pretty big. This went with a full mirror on the classes here. Outcast DH for both Frost DK, Undead Priest, and Miracle Rogue, and then a Frost DK ban. So it probably comes down much more to what actually happened in those games. Fortunately, I don't have the any replays or anything to talk about that, but I'm sure that it was quite close.
Mhm.
Chicken, anything you want to share about this match?
Yeah, this is a pretty insane upset. Even with it being a close 3-2, the fact that 3 perennial Masters Tour players uh, fell fell to the Triple Bros Bash is certainly a surprise because yeah, most people picked the Barrel of Monkeys to be one of the top teams in trios, which is pretty crazy. I did talk with Pee Wee after the match, and like, well, it was pretty crazy some of the games that happened. So a bit of a tough start for the Barrel of Monkeys, but lots of weeks, and I'm sure they can bounce back in the future, and they'll still very much be able to make playoffs. So not too much to worry about. It's still week 1. It's always kind of the case in the start of THL seasons where a lot of teams that are good on paper sometimes drop some points. Probably just comes off to like shaking off the rust of not having played a match in a month and change. So yeah, I mean we've seen this before. It happens. I'm sure they'll bounce back.
I will also mention that this team Triple Bros Bash is a wild team. Anubinator, Reverb, and Jules are all from Bash Bros, which is a perennial wild team.
Yeah, my former team.
And the other wild team, what is it? Lean Lovers, also won. So maybe people should just learn to tread lightly.
Standard players are so bad.
Lean Lovers are 1-1.
Well,
they won
after the first week. After the first week.
Yeah,
Don't ask them what happened midweek too.
I will not.
Nope.
Speaking
Anyways.
of wild players, let's take a look at our second trios match, which does not feature wild players, I think. Azalea, tell us about the L Gang facing Millennium Force.
L Gang versus Millennium Force. So I'm looking at this. So Millennium Force is Icer, CBX1, and Moon. So members of the Cooler. The L Gang is Lemur, Lowbrow Ladder, and Gimme Lamp. So that's two members of, I think Lowbrow and Lemur are on the same team in one of the. No, they're not. I don't think. But Lamp is the only wild player from this
Lowbrow is
group.
also in Wild.
Oh,
This
he
season
is
he's in
too.
Wild.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it was a 3-2 win, which means it went to all five. We had Outcast, DH, Frosty Cape, Burn Mage, and Miracle Rogue from L Gang, and Millennium Force had Outcast, DH, Frosty K, Undead Priest, and Miracle Rogue. It went all five. Both teams banned Frosty K. What a surprise for week one. So yeah, congrats to the L Gang getting to stay up at that top, getting up in the upper part of the trio standings for now.
For sure.
Yeah.
Geranium, anything about this match you want to say?
Well, I will mention Burn Mage getting another win. That's a lot of wins that we saw for Mage week one, which is pretty cool. Just because it wasn't a very popularly brought deck, but yet it had a lot of good results. The L Gang as well has played their second match. I don't know if we're going to cover it next week, but you can actually cover it yourself, dear viewer, by watching the stream since it was played on stream last week.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, I mean, what can I say? I mean, it's a lot of mirror classes so far that we've seen in trios. Perhaps there will be more diversity this week.
True. I think last week wasn't, just as a whole, was not diverse, but I don't know. I'll bring this as a question to everyone. Before we go to our commercial, and we'll talk about nerfs and buffs at the end, but I just want to ask, do you think this is going to be a more diverse week? And I'll open with Chicken.
It feels equally diverse, I would say. Like we nearing the right before the patch last week, we saw kind of the return of like Scythe Demon Hunter starting to come back up again. So I guess like in terms of that deck coming back up and maybe like Mage seeing a little bit more play this week, we'll see slightly more diversity. It feels very similar though. Like Frost and Blood Death Knight are still quite popular. Unholy Death Knight is around a little bit too. I've seen it on ladder a bit. So, maybe one or two more archetypes that are playable in the two most popular classes. So, in terms of class variety, there won't be much more, but maybe in terms of archetype variety, we might see a bit of an increase.
Fair. Anything And Geranium wants to add about this.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot of class options. Like you can pick a lot of different classes and get a 45% win rate deck. So there's a lot of decks that are like they're real. They're real decks. They can win real games of Hearthstone. However, when we're talking about when you have to pare it down to 4 different classes, you have to take the cream of the crop and you have to take things that can win against those other top decks. And as for top decks, that hasn't really changed that much. There's a lot of class diversity in winning decks in DH, but not in other like hero portraits.
Fair, fair. I do agree there has been. It's definitely not an equal meta. Some classes are way better than others right now. But Azalea, what do you think?
I kind of agree with what Dranium and Chicken have been saying. Um, I'm not like I'm not too caught up on things. But from what I have seen through like the meta reports, it seems like it's kind of the same type of decks, the same classes are hanging. It's DK, DH are strong. Um, and then like Druid is still there. There's kind of options once you get past kind of the best uh couple of classes, and that's the interesting thing. Um, to see what people want to bring for their kind of their third, fourth classes, or if there's kind of a set three, then that fourth class will get a bit diverse. But it'll be interesting for sure.
Awesome. Now, we're about the half point in our show. Actually, we're a bit after, but I think this is a good time as any for us to have our commercial. And just a reminder, this is our first corrupted commercials. Don't expect a lot of commercial, but we're going to have Azalea Kari for that great read that we're all waiting for. Azalea, bring it on.
Okay. All right, let's see how things are. Oh, the corruption is starting before I even go. All right, yo 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 yo. Hey there, Twitch viewers. Have who subscribed to Team Hearth League yet? Then make today the day to be a league yourself and subscribe to our channel. This subscription enables our team to help cover the cost of operating our website as well as to improve the quality of our streams and content to our viewers. If you crave Amazon Prime/Twitch Prime, you can subscribe to the channel for free. Subscribers will get a THL emoticon as well as the lovely THL chat badge. So multiverses that thumbs up button and keep the notifications on to make sure you catch our team broadcasting live. We appreciate each and some of you. Special note to our viewers: check out THL's other social media points of interest. Website is teamhearthleague.com. On Twitter, it is at THL_HS. You can join us on Discord at Team Hearth League, and squirt some Cash App and mustard. Our ridiculous hat exclamation mark 1215. That's a funny one. The true Hearth legend Saku continues to post all of our videos on our YouTube channel. Just search for Team Hearth League to see everything previously recorded. You are, of course, watching us on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Team Hearth League, or possibly on our YouTube channel in the future. And for all guys, you THL fanatics out there, there are UTHL shows every single most days of the week. You cannot go wrong tuning in at time for some Hearthstone related content. Now Saku, the good part. Ciao.
Wow, another excellent commercial
Another
read.
another banger.
I
Yeah.
think people talk a lot about power creep in Hearthstone, but I think there's some serious power creep going on in the corruption of the commercial.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
this is the first corrupted week, and it's already getting out of hand, which is
Yeah.
good. The
The
more
out
out
of
of
hand,
hand,
the
the
out of
better.
hand part was more the fact that I had to kind of half pause to wait for the corruption to happen, so I wasn't reading the actual thing. I was reading what you all wanted to give me. But yeah, this is a fantastic,
The
fantastic
intention
read.
is usually for you to be locked in the middle. That is part.
Absolutely.
But is everyone ready to talk about pro?
Yes.
Right, so we're going to open with our first pro match where Super Chicken is going to tell us about F3L versus OPP. Chicken, take it away.
Yeah, this pro match really did not have the start that our team was looking for. We went down basically 2-0 in matches. We were down, what was it, like 8-1 in points?
8-1. Yep.
Um, so we weren't feeling great about that. Especially, I mean, credit to Saku on getting a huge win for his team. But yeah, it was pretty surprising to see Dankus Dad, who is a 550 PR a lot of the time, lose to a 50 PR player 3-0. Which yeah, it was pretty funny. Would have been
Yeah.
funnier had we not been losing so poor by so much at that time. It's funny in retrospect, but yeah, I played the third match of the team and was able to get a sweep over Heat Shock, which kind of started to turn things around for us. I don't really know what his lineup was doing. I think he said it was to target Rogue, um, and my Rogue went 1-0, so it didn't go all that well for him. But yeah, I think like Rogue is probably too good to bring 4 cope control decks against. Um, Especially when like Relic Demon Hunter doesn't even beat Rogue, really. Uh, so perhaps not a heat shock meta at the moment. But yeah, that kind of got the ball rolling for us, and we were able to string 2 more wins together. I believe Neji played, and then Agent PWE closed out the week for us with a big win to give us a 1-0 start to the season and 16 very important points.
Mm-hmm.
Geranium, anything to say about this one?
It is rare that you ever see a result like you see in this 5 seed, like you see Saku over Dankestad 3-0. I will say this is not the first time that a 50 PR player has beaten a 550 in pro. I think it was 2 or 3 seasons ago where uh where Lotus might not want me to bring up Clarity's record against Brushy Tuna, where
Yeah, he did beat Ron.
that was not week 1. But yeah, I mean, I think there should be a BGH for the Pro Series, in other words, because there are some pretty great results sometimes. In this case, this is the Enrage Warrior that I was talking about. World 8 is already up 2-0 because he brought Enrage Warrior and won with it again. So cope harder, Warrior non-believers.
Anything else anyone wants to share about this match before we look at the pink standings? Okay, so let's take a look at the standings. Chicken, how is pink looking?
Yeah, in first place, we have the Cheesemongers United, who got 21 points last week. In second, we have F3L, who got 16 points last week. Then in third place, we have the Opportunistic Pro Players with 11 points from the previous week. In fourth, we have Sorgoi with 8 points from the previous week. And in last place, we have Zymox and Chill at 7 points. So already, I mean, it's only 1 week, but starting to see a pretty distinct separation between some of these teams.
Yep.
Cheesemongers having a really big week last week with 21 points, putting themselves pretty firmly in first place. So they're certainly the team to beat in Pink Conference, and it'll kind of be up to everyone else to take top spot. Am I understanding correctly that it's the top 2 teams from each pro conference that make playoffs?
Likely, yeah.
Yeah, it's
believe
in
so.
10 team things. It is top 2 from each.
Okay. Yeah, so a very, very tight playoff race, and
Yeah.
with only it's 7 weeks again, right? For pro?
I think
believe so.
so.
Yeah, so yeah, with such a short season, it's so crucial to get all the points you can, and yeah, I mean for teams like Swagoy and Zymox and Shell, they really, really need to start picking up a lot of points every week.
It's 8 weeks of pro.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Just wanted to check to make sure we had that. Okay.
So, keeping up with Pro, let's take a look at the Black Conference, where Duranium Battle is going to tell us about Brushy Tuna facing APM.
Man, are you sure you don't want to talk about this one, Lotus? I mean, this is a blowout for your team
This
against
one,
Axe playing Metalheads.
I can say a little bit. This match, so Ron and Hat were the first two to play.
Mhm.
And they went in and they said, "Yeah, we did our job. Now you guys have to win. Don't be slackers." And then no one else lost a game. And
Yeah.
yeah, no, we did have Ego Waffle and Dabs calling Ron and Hat slackers because they did drop games. It was
Oh, I love it.
it was a very funny moment in our Discord. We were Ron was just like, "Yeah, no, I thought we were doing well, and no, we were doing awful compared to the rest." But it was just a
Yeah.
funny day when because I think everyone but Ron and Hat played the last day, so it was just last day records. It's like, yeah, no, everyone just
Mhm.
won. We had some funny matches. My match versus KSW was very weird, but some good matches, and it was fun playing with Ego and Dabs. Um, I want to ask Azalea, any thoughts, anything you want to share that I didn't mention?
I think this is the I think 2 points is the lowest amount of points I've seen a team score in 5 matches since I've joined THL. Um, it's amazing. I mean 20-point weeks have happened, like they happen every so often. They usually happen a couple times a season in most series, but a 20-2 is a very kind of staggering result to take a look at. Big congrats to Brushy Tuna. Uh, your this team in all of its iterations have perennially been semifinals contenders, finalists, um, and they're looking to finally get over the hump this season. Just and they have a very strong start with a 23-point week. In APM, um, I mean, they've also made playoffs quite a lot. It's tough. It's going to be tough to come back after a. It's going to be tough to climb the ladder after a 2-point start. But at least there's 7 more weeks to go, and if they can start taking games off of the other teams in their conference and teams from the pink conference, like just because of how the scheduling is going to be, and they can claw their way back potentially.
I will note they did win a game so far, so they did start this week hot again. As
Yes.
I transition us to look in the Black standings, Azalea, what are the standings for Black looking like?
Yeah, so Black Conference standings, it starts at the top with Brushy Tuna, 23 points. Next up, the defending champions F2L with 21 points. After that is Rocket Propelled Glove Girl at 19 points. In fourth place is Frog Champs Resurrection at 8 points. And in last point, the aforementioned Axe Playing Metalheads at 2 points.
Anything else anyone wants to share about Pro before we go to our checkout question in the main screen?
I will mention a couple facts actually about that last match, or I guess Axe playing Metalheads as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So usually they actually get this 20 to blank score in the final week, and then they miss playoffs.
They did it in the first week.
But last season and now this season they did it in the first week. And last season they made playoffs. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what that means. Last season we saw some 20 to 3s, some 20 to 5s in sort of the early weeks as teams sort of got their footing. And Azalea, I will say that there was a 20 to 0. One
There
20 to
was?
0. That's the only 20 to 0 I've ever
Yeah.
seen.
I was gonna say it happened once.
And it happened in Wild. I think it happened like 3 times ish total THL history, but the only one I've seen happened in Wild. I think it was
Everyone's a
Viridian
winner?
or something. I'm not sure.
I know
Yeah,
for a
maybe
while
everyone's a
the
winner.
record was at a 20 to
Ah.
3. And then at some point the record got lower. And I've heard of a 20-0. I'm pretty sure I've seen a 20-0, but they're not.
I'm sure I can go ask some THL historian people if they remember that result, because I in my brain will not remember it.
I think it's a year and a half ago. I'll also look for it. But
Okay,
yeah,
sounds
20 to
good.
2 is just about as rare. So
Yeah. I think my team, I mean, the best I've ever gotten as a team was a 20 to 6 in a week 1. And that team didn't make, and that team ended up not making playoffs. That was a tragedy. But yeah, interesting start to the week in THL. As we, I guess, can move on to the final segment of the show.
For sure. Let's move into our checkout question of the night, which is thoughts on nerfs and buffs. Did Hearthstone change a lot? Did things not change that much? What is going on? And I'll start with Azalea. What is going on for you this week?
I think the nerf that I think is gonna end up being most impactful and has already started showing is the Death Knight Discover nerf, the Death Knight Discover changes. So for those who haven't seen the notes or don't really know, Death Knight has had its Discover pool changed so that triple rune cards that are of one specific class of runes, so like triple blood, triple unholy, triple frost, are no longer discoverable, which takes away things like getting vampiric bloods or frostworm furies, more of them. So I think that's a very impactful change. As for the buffs, I think the buffs went in a pretty interesting direction. I saw people bouncing around like Death Rattle Druid. I'm not sure if it's actually if that's actually like a good deck, but that seemed interesting to me. Um, and in general, I think at least the top classes have kind of stayed top classes.
Okay. Geranium, any thoughts on what happened last week?
yeah, I think it was some poorly timed deck constructions sort of released into the meta, just as they had actually a couple seasons ago, when Miracle Rogue looked down and out, and then a really powerful Miracle Rogue
3-mana
appeared.
Edwin.
Yeah, and then they buffed Edwin as a result. In this case, they didn't buff any of the top decks, but Spell DH is sort of like the maybe most degenerate feeling deck that we've seen in a little bit, and it's just like sort of annoying to play against. That one's probably going to receive some complaints. We might see that get nerfed in the future. Poorly timed in that way. Big DH came out right after the patch as well. And that's a high performer right now. But all in all, the patch did what it set out to do. It buffed cards so that it sort of inspired people to do deck creation. And then we see a lot of classes having their one deck. A lot of the nerfs in and of themselves weren't that impactful, but the fact that we do have that diversity of there's a bunch of classes that have 45% decks, that does probably do what they set out to do. Now, it doesn't actually fix the meta, it doesn't fix the THL meta, but it might be what what Team 5 is going for. Nerf wise, yeah, the Discover nerf probably the most impactful. I think that The other ones were somewhat impactful though, and
There's
the classes as a result have decreased in play. So Frost DK has gone down maybe because of Spell DH, a little bit because of the Discover things.
Mhm.
Spell not Spell DH, Relic DH, and the one that played Sitheno
Rowdy.
plus Rowdy most effectively. That one has gone down, but that also might just be sort of the surrounding meta. So it's both the surrounding meta and the nerfs that is impacting some of the older decks.
Right. And Chicken, any thoughts on nerfs and buffs?
I do like that there were lots of buffs implemented. Unfortunately, it seems like the buffs haven't been that impactful for the most part. I think my biggest complaint in general from the most recent two patches is that they were both kind of almost too early. It felt like in both cases, both at the start of the expansion and the most recent patch on Thursday, it felt like the meta really hadn't settled yet, and then there was still a patch that was thrown. I mean, kind of like yeah, Max mentioned before how like the kind of Scythe Demon Hunter was just starting to see play when the patch hit, and just starting to get like a decent amount of games played on ladder.
Yeah.
And then basically all the balance changes came in. Demon Hunter didn't get like that Demon Hunter didn't get hit. So that I I wasn't a huge fan of that, and like I think as a result, this Demon Hunter has stayed one of the strongest decks in the game. I also wasn't really a huge fan of the fact that Blood Death Knight wasn't really hit directly. I mean, the Discover changes definitely make a big difference, and I can understand wanting to wait and see how much those Discover changes affect the class, because Blood Death Knight losing the ability to discover a card like Vampiric Blood is a pretty huge deal. And the fact that they can only have like two Vampiric Bloods in a game, it makes a big difference for a lot of matchups. But at the same time, it really felt like they didn't do quite enough to bring the class in line with the power level of other classes. And maybe we see more buffs in the future. I generally prefer kind of a higher power level meta anyways, because I find
Yeah.
when it feels like, regardless of whether or not what you're doing is broken, I find it's more fun when it feels like it's broken. But yeah, we'll have to see. It's still less than a week into the most recent patch, so there's certainly lots of time for the meta to develop. And I'm still pretty optimistic. I think there could be new decks that could come up. So yeah, just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
That's true. We'll wait and see what happens as we keep getting new cards and hopefully getting new cards at some point as well. And we'll feel the nerfs and buffs. But with that
Yeah.
said, I want to take this opportunity to thank all my hosts, unless they have any final thoughts, anything else they want to say.
Yeah, I know we don't cover Wild, but I do want to say that the twig of the World Tree nerf was extremely impactful in Wild, because Druid was busted, absolutely busted because of instrument tech being created. So they finally nerfed Twig, just like they nerfed Lightning Bloom to be refresh instead of gain mana. So I know we don't. I know we don't cover it, but the THL has a Wild series, and that's an absolutely massive change. So I'm interested. So I'm sure that that Bone Masters group will be covering that.
They
Yeah,
covered it.
Bowmesher did cover it this morning. Yeah. Bowmesher did cover it this morning. I will say that the top deck in Wild is still a Druid deck. It's just one without Twig. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
it went from being absolutely busted to just being a tier 1, which is instead of tier S, it's tier 1.
Some things never
still
change.
pretty good.
But yeah, I remember like even when I played Wild a year ago,
Twig was so
Twig of the
strong.
World Tree was a little bit of a problem. And like in 2018, in standard, Toiga the World Tree was a problem. So it's pretty funny to see how long it really took them to fix this card.
Yep. It took them printing a card that made it consistent for them to have to nerf it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with this said, I want to take this opportunity to thank Super Chicken, Geranium Battle, and Azalea Kari for being here with me, for being my co host tonight. Thank you so much. It's always great having each of you.
Mm-hmm.
I
Always a pleasure.
A lot of fun.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
I want to thank all our viewers as well. I hope you enjoy the show. We're here for you. So please let us know, send us comments. Heart Center is going to be back next week. We have a few matches scheduled. If you want to play on stream, you can always DM the channel, the Stream Matches channel. We're always looking for great matches. So send us your standard, your wild matches, your trios matches. We're always looking for great matches and would be happy to feature yours. So hit us up. With that in mind, we will see you all soon. Have a great week, everyone, and Heart Center's back next week.